by the stove. This house sitting, my my church parsonage while my pastor is out of town. And as I'm looking at this fire, as it's gradually, starting to go out, I am putting a little more wood on it because I'm about to go to bed soon, go in the room where there's a regular heater. This heater is mostly for just the living room and the kitchen to stay warm. Anyways, I thought about this sermon where about this guy. He stops attending church for a while, has been in church for like quite a few weeks, and the pastor decides to pay him a visit at his house, and the guy, he's just watching the fire. Pastor just comes in, sits down. Neither one of them say a word. They just watch the fire for a while. And the pastor takes a hot coal with some tongs and sits it outside of the chimney. And they just watch it. It gradually cools, and the fire goes out, and then the pastor gets up and he starts to walk off, and the guy that had missed church for a while, he says to the pastor, "I'll be at church next Sunday," and he says, "Thank you, and thank you for the fire sermon." And the pastor hadn't said a word, and but he taught a lot without even saying a word. Just grabbed that coal out of there, and it cooled off. And that could be like us when we're not around other believers for a while. We can cool off. We cool off, and the person that and those people that we weren't with, they might cool off because we weren't around them. We might think we don't need the church, but need other believers, but other believers may need you, and I believe you do. You do need other believers, and other believers need you. We all need each other, and we help build each other up. There's times we go through stuff, and God gets us through it, but sometimes we struggle through it, and being around other believers helps us the strength to go through it, especially if someone may have went through the same thing we went through, and they could tell us how we went through it, how God was with them when they went through it, and God's going to be with you going through it too. And that person may talk about some miracle or just how God was with them and went through it, and that could encourage you to just keep on keeping on and not to give up, because sometimes people just feel like giving up on God, and especially if we're not around other believers, and there might be something we have to add to say to other believers in church, other people in the congregation. Maybe of some help that the pastors hasn't been of help, because maybe the pastor didn't go through something and don't know don't understand what you're going through, maybe, and you might encourage somebody else. And we all need to be a light, and just if one coal could be taken out of fire, and then maybe another, and then another, and then another, and then it just overall the whole fire is smaller and smaller and smaller as each coal is taken out, and then plus each individual fire ends up cooling off a lot faster without each other. And I'm saying we all need each other, and Anyways, this is John Moss, aka my artist name, DeShawn Moshe. That's just my name in another language. DeShawn is African for John, which in Hebrew means God's grace or the grace of God. And my last name Moss originates from the word Moshe, which is also is the word that if you look in the Hebrew name Bible, the word Moses is Moshe, and Moshe he was taken out of the water. Instead of drowning like the enemies of Israel, like the Egyptians tried to wanted to drown or just feed babies to the alligators and stuff, but he was drawn out, and that's what Moshe or Moses means. It means drawn out or to draw out. So my full name in Hebrew, John Moss or DeShawn Moshe, another language, means God's grace drew me out. So my first name and last name form a sentence, and that's pretty cool. I've always been the type of person, or well, no, I haven't always been the type of person, but for probably about the last 15, 20 years now, off and on, I'll when I come across someone's name, or maybe a name I haven't heard before, unusual name sometimes, not always an unusual name, but some name, I'm sometimes curious to what it means, and I'll look up that name. Like some people's name, princess, some people's name means warrior, and all kinds of other stuff. I happen to know the word Michael means who is like God, which the answer is nobody. Nobody's like God. Only God is, there's nothing can compare to God. Anyways, this is John Moss, DeShawn Moshe, signing off. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks, Bearded Legend 33. Thank you for watching. Give you a wave. Bye bye everybody.